Hey everyone, welcome back to TK's Tech Talk. Today I'm going to be doing an interesting test. So I've got an AK620 air cooler here. As you can see, it's by DeepCool, and I used it in my build video some months back, about 5 months ago or 6 months ago, with my 12900K i9 12900K. And what I wanted to do was do some testing with this third fan to see if it helps with the heat dissipation out of the system. So what I've actually done is I've got a DeepCool fan here, and unfortunately it's not the same speed as these two fans, so I've actually put it, this will be the front of the fan, and all of the air will flow in this direction out of the case, so from the front to the back. So I've actually removed this fan. I bought another Neptwin cooler. This is the Neptwin RGB, and I removed the RGB fans. Yeah, there were two fans. One is in my case as a intake because I wanted ARGB, and it has ARGB, so I stuck it in the case, and I put one on here to test. So this is actually part of another video as well. So there's gonna be an overlap. You'll see the same footage in another video where I'm comparing the air cooler with a Artic Liquid Freezer 280 ARGB. So that video will be up hopefully before this one, but if not, one of them will be up first, so you might be able to see both of them. So this is going to be a much shorter video. All I'm going to do is run some tests with two fans in full load, and then also with without power limitations, so there will be no restrictions. We're going to see how hot the CPU gets. Then we're going to do some undervolting, so we're going to undervolt by 0.05 volts and running at 240 watts power. That should help keep the beast under control. And we're going to do the same test with the three fans to see how that helps. Okay, so before we go into the results testing with just the AK620 with two fans, let's going to talk about the layout of the case and the configuration for the fans at the moment. We have two 140mm Corsair fans at the top. We have two 200mm intake fans at the top, so these two are exhaust, and we have one 120mm fan at the back as an exhaust. So let's go through the results testing like this. It will be done with with no power limits and no undervolting, and then with power limits and undervolting. Okay, so we're in the BIOS here. You can see we have the XMP profile applied. We have 3200 megahertz on the DDR4 RAM. If I go into overclock settings right now, we have limited the power to the box cooler. We're going to unlimit that, put it onto water cooler, and scroll all the way down. As you can see, I have adaptive offset with a minus 0.05 volts. So I'm going to put this to auto. So now essentially we're going to have only XMP applied, which is fine. We want to make sure XMP is applied. So we're going to have no power limits. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to save this and let the PC reboot. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, we're back in. So I'm going to open up hardware info, or hardware monitor, sorry, and Cinebench. Conveniently got the shortcuts ready on my desktop for that. Taskbar rather. So I'm going to pin this to the left, pin the monitor to the right, bring up. I'm going to close the utilization because we know that's going to be 100%. We can keep an eye on the speeds of the cores and the temperatures. So far we've maxed out at 58, and we're idling around 33, 34 degrees. One thing I do want to mention though, here in Abu Dhabi, I've got the AC off in my room at the moment, so depending on wherever the apartment's cooling at, and we're sitting in around 23.5 degrees Celsius, so the room is quite warm. Doesn't bother me, I'm not a big fan of AC, but anyway, just wanted to let you know that before I run these tests. So it is going to be much warmer than what you would normally test your PC environment in, but it's my normal use case. So it's a fair scenario if you're living in a country where it's warm, or if you're in the summer months of wherever you live, and the temperature is going to affect you. So let's click start, and then we're going to keep an eye on the temperatures here. So we've already hit 100 degrees on one of the cores, I guess. There we go. There's 100 degrees there, 100 degrees there. That took almost no time. So as you can see, with no power restrictions, this CPU is power hungry. We've hit 288 watts, and you know, we're getting some crazy numbers. Let me try and show you these numbers, exactly what they are. Look at that. That's some serious heat there, right? Yep. And let's move over to the other side. So one pass is already finished. And let's just have a quick idea of what the score was. See if we can hover over this and see the first score quickly. And that was 27,212. It's not bad. Let's see what the second pass is. I'm not going to keep this running, guys. You can already see that this is running much hotter than we want it to run. It doesn't really make sense to keep this test going, as we know that as the test progresses, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So right now, where the second pass finished on 27,113, clearly it's going down. You can now see there's 4 cores that have touched 100 degrees, 199, 199 here, and core 1, which always for some reason seems to be my best core. I'm guessing that must be my best core that I have. That one is still on 92, but this is just to give you an idea. Okay, 3 passes are finishing, and we have come down now to 27,069. Now this goes all the way down to 26,000 something, and that's why you see a lot of people with Cinebench scores around the 26,000 mark, because after the full run it definitely does dip quite a lot, and you can see there's some thermal throttling going on here because of the temperatures. We've hit 5 cores at 100 degrees, and you can see we're topping out at 4.8 now, where the maxes were like 5.1, 5.2. So let's stop this test, and now let's restart and go back into the BIOS where we will apply the undervolting again. Okay, so we are back in the BIOS. I'm really hoping that you can see my screen properly. I tried OBS, I don't have a capture card. It's becoming very difficult to make this video, but I really want to do this because I think there is a lot of information to be learned from this, especially if you're looking to buy this processor. It's very power hungry. But anyway, we're going to go back into our overclock settings, and this time we're going to go back to PL1 241. So this is an MSI motherboard, so please remember I'm doing this on MSI board. Your board will have some slight variations on how this works. So we go to CPU core voltage mode, I go to auto, I select adaptive plus offset. At least this is the one I've tested or played about with. Click on offset mode, so naturally we want to go below, so we're going to select minus, and then the offset voltage is going to be minus 0.05. So we're done with that. We click apply, sorry, click close, and it's going to tell me, do you want to apply these changes? So we're going to box cooler, and we're going to adaptive offset mode. I'm going to click yes, let it reboot, go back into Windows, and I'll be back. Right, so we are back into Windows. We are going to run the same applications again, Cinebench R23 and hardware monitor, and we're going to run the same test again. I think that it's a bit unfair to run this test exactly like this, because even though the temps have come down, I guess it's fine because the temps have come down, we'll assume that it's fair. So we only have Cinebench open. I'm hoping there's no background tasks that would mess about with this, but let's keep it like this for now, so we can see we're idling. Well, we assume we're idling around 33, 34. As I said, it's very warm in this room. Maybe there are some background tasks going on. I'm not really going to bother checking right now, but we just want to see how much is the score impacted with the undervolting. And keep an eye here for the package temperature, because package power, because you will see it will not go over 240 now. So let's do that now. So let's click start and come back here into hardware monitor. And yeah, we have actually already touched 90 degrees on 1 core and 2 cores, but at least we haven't hit the 100 yet. Now I know this is not good temperatures, but at least we haven't hit the 100. And I'll be very honest, this seems to be running a bit warmer than it was when I first tested. But as the first test comes to an end, let's just have a quick look at what score we get on the first pass. And we hit 27,074. So we're still getting close to that 27,000 mark, even with these power limits in place. So that's the first part over and done with. And now obviously we're going to test this with a liquid cooler. So let's see how exactly that works out. But as you can see, as we're running this test, the test is still running. We still haven't hit 100 degrees, right? So we're at 95 on 1 core maximum here, 94 here. Let's see what the second test result was. 2773 is still on 27,000, and you can see the package power here is not going above 242. So let me just zoom into those a little bit so you can see everything a bit better. So there is the temperatures and the power draw, 242, and we're hitting a maximum of 96 at the moment. And then the Cinebench score, which you can see here, is on this pass finished. That's a total of 4 passes, and we are still at 27,050, which is not bad. Considering we've undervolted the CPU and power limited it, it does go to show that this processor doesn't need all that power. It feels like that power, like a lot of people are saying, is just there to get those benchmark numbers higher than everything else. Okay, so before I go on to the next part of the video and talk about the liquid cooler and possibly 3 fans on my air cooler, I left the benchmark running, forgot I had left it running, and it's good in a way because we managed to get the temperatures at the end of the full run, so we can see that we never actually hit 99 degrees, though I believe there must have been some throttling because I believe some of the cores may have gone down, but we can't really see that now. And if we go over to the left here, we can actually see that we ended on a score of, see if we can get that number out there, it is 26,938, so close to 27,000. And that's not too bad considering that, you know, we were undervolted and we're running at 240 watts power draw as a maximum. So that's pretty good. So now let me move on to the next part of the video and let's see how the tests come out. Okay, now we're gonna do the same test again. And by the way, the tempered glass panel was on at the time of testing. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take out the Neptwin cooler, and then we're going to put the third cooler fan at the back. Now from what I remember, the Neptwin cooler fans are slower than these fans. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move one of these to the back as an exhaust. I'm not sure how much effect this is going to have. Might have to remove that and put the slower fan at the front because I think it will mess up the airflow. I'm not sure, I'm just guessing that if we put the faster fans at the front, it's going to mess up the airflow. So I'll remove these, remove the pins, put it on this front here. And let's just have a quick look at the Neptwin cooler. I'm hoping that you can see all of this in the video. Or let me just get rid of the case for a moment. Okay, so I just shifted the case over to the side. And let's open this up. Got some screws and brackets and things in here. And there's another huge air cooler. I'm not sure how this will perform, but considering that the other one is supposed to be much better than this, I'm not going to bother doing a test with just this fan. If anybody is interested in using this cooler, let me know. I'll try and do some tests with this cooler as well. So again, it's held in by similar brackets. The camera might be going a bit crazy with these fins, I'm not sure, but I'm going to remove one of these fans. I believe these are ARGB fans, so we just pull away and remove. Are they connected together? Doesn't look like they are. What about this one? Just want to see which one's got, they've got the same number of connectors. So I'm just going to leave one on there and put that back inside for now because we won't be needing this for the testing. So let's get rid of that. So that's the fan removed. We've got the clips on there. They don't stay on. They don't stay very well as good as the new ones do. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one at the front of the case, replacing this fan, and move that fan to the back, and let's see how it looks. Just realized I got better light in this orientation. Anyway, so I've got the three fans on. The clips aren't exactly, you can see there's a bit of flex there. They're not the same. They're much more fiddly to put on than these ones were. These are much easier to change around and fiddle about with. This was a bit of a challenge, but there we go. We've got enough RAM clearance. No issues there. Got the three fans all blowing in this direction. There's a very small gap here. I'm not sure if it would be more beneficial to remove this fan. But for now, we're going to test it exactly like this to see if adding three fans makes the AK620 better, or if it helps in general with three fans on an air cooler. Right, okay, so we now have the three fans installed as you saw. I have, because I really wanted to test this, I've removed all of the power limits. So we're going to see how it performs with three fans with all of the power limits removed. So you can see at the moment we're sitting idle around 30 degrees on most of the cores. So let's open up Cinebench and let's start the test. Keep an eye on the temperatures. Just to elaborate, I want to just tell you that we are still more or less in the same conditions, around 23 degrees in the room. And interestingly enough, we haven't hit 100 degrees just yet. So okay, there we go, we hit one core 100 degrees. So it's still definitely better than before. You might be able to hear the fans kicking in now. I'm not going to bother doing a full run on this. Okay, we've got two cores now. Still definitely better than before. And the score we have so far is 27,348. So let's just let it run for a couple of runs and see what happens. Okay, we've got three cores. So it's not doing much better, but it's definitely holding out. If I remember correctly, we were probably on around 4 cores hitting 100 degrees by now. We're getting there. We're definitely going to hit 100 on 4 or 5 cores. but it's definitely running a little bit better. So after the second run, we are down to 27266 and still only 3 cores touching that 100 degrees. Let's just let it run for a bit, see if we can get the 4th core on 100 degrees, and then I think we'll just call it a day. And then remove the power limits back to 240 watts with 0.05 volts of undervolting, and see how that performs. I think I'm already pretty confident that with that power limit enabled, so we're down to 27225, it's doing pretty well. We've got cores running around 4.8 gigahertz, sometimes going down a little bit, sometimes going up to 4.9, and we still haven't hit 100 degrees in 4 cores. This is really very impressive. We're coming up to 2 minutes. We're on the 5th pass, and are we going to maintain that 27,000? Yes, we are. It's down to 27,180. This is fine. It does generally go down as time goes on. So only 3 cores at 100 degrees. We're already doing way better than we were with the 2 fans. So maybe DeepCool, if you're watching, maybe think about adding a 3rd fan, because right now I'm using 3 fans which are not the same. 2 are from the AK620 and 1 is from the Neptwin ARGB, which runs a little bit slower. But we're still at 27,141. This is absolutely excellent, to be honest. I know we're hitting 100 degrees. I know we're really hammering that fan, but it really is doing pretty well. So let's stop this here. So we let this pass finish. We're on 27,141. Let's see how much more down it goes. We still haven't hit 104 cores. This is pretty impressive. So we're running at 27,120. So we're slowly coming down. We're going to get down to 26,000 something. I'm not going to bother testing this all the way. I'm going to stop this test now. And you can see that it does cool down pretty quickly. So there's definitely decent contact, I believe. Obviously, I can't really test how good a contact we have. So let me stop the video here, and I'm going to remove the power limit. I'm going to enable the power limits, and we're back. Right, okay, we're back, and I've reduced the power limit to 240 watts as before with the 2 fan configuration. I have reduced I've put the adaptive offset for the voltage at minus 0.05, and we can see the CPU is idling around 30 degrees on most of the cores. I've got some 0 degree readings there. I'm guessing maybe bad contact or what, I'm not really sure, but we have to just assume that that's a software error, or maybe there is a physical contact issue. But we're going to run Cinebench anyway, as before. So let's start the test and keep an eye on the temperatures. Let's see what happens this time. So let's zoom in on the temperatures a little bit. Definitely doing way better than what we were with the power limits removed, and we haven't touched 90. Okay, we just touched 90 on one of the cores. And this time I am going to let the test run the full way, because we have the results from the full test on the 2 fans. So it'll be interesting to see how high the temperature goes. The first pass is complete. We've touched 92 degrees and we have a score of 27,233. So what I'm going to do, so we've got one core already at 94 degrees. So I'm not sure how this is going to compare to before. I'm guessing there won't be a massive difference. It's still pretty decent, and it also shows that because we're achieving these scores over 27,000, we're only losing a couple of 100 points at most. We're now down to 27,166. So we're running around 150 to 200 below what we were getting with the power limits removed. But the main thing here is that one thing we have to accept, there's no point running this 12900K at stock. We're clearly achieving at 240 watts here, as you can see. Forgot to zoom the camera out, sorry about that. Okay, so let me just show you the score here. Okay, another pass is completed, and we are now at 27,160. So it's slowly still coming down. The temperatures are still maximum of 95 degrees there. So let this test finish, and then we can compare this to the first run and see how it compares. Back in a moment. Okay, so the test has completed and we have finished on a score of, not sure if you can read that, but I'll read it out, 27,086, so about 100 points higher. And the temperatures, the maximum core was that last core there, it hit 96 degrees, and then we had a couple at 95, and one at 94, one at 92, and two at 93, and that core magic core one at 87. So well, let's do this now. Let's compare this, because I took a screenshot earlier, to the old results. So let's have a look at this, and let's zoom in a bit, and let's see the difference. So let's see. So in this one we finished one core at 96, same one, 93 versus 94, 95, 95, 95, 91, 93, 93, 93, 88, 87, 95, 92. So on average, it looks about the same. There's not a massive difference. I'm not sure if we can maybe get that a little bit better by playing with the fan curves. It's definitely possible. We were definitely able to maintain a slightly higher score. So we could assume that is running a little bit better. You see we have the 3 degrees cooler on that core, 1 degree cooler on that core. These two, well, that's strangely enough, it was cooler here. So the bottom line is, it does the job, doesn't throttle, can't maintain those 27,200 or 27,300 scores for Cinebench, but we did end up on a score 100 higher, because if you see here, we were on 26,938. Also, we finished more than 100 points higher, and here we had 27,086. So that's around 150 points higher. It's definitely not bad. So the third fan does help a little bit. I guess if DeepCool were to make the third fan available, maybe it will work a little better. Maybe we can play with the fan curve a little bit and improve that. Okay, so if you're watching the shorter video, I've got another video coming up, a much longer one, more detailed, comparing against the Artic Liquid Freezer 280 ARGB. If you're watching the shorter video, I hope this was useful. There was a massive difference. The overall score was slightly higher with the 3 fan configuration. Maybe we can improve it there with playing with fan curves, but that's going to take a lot of time and effort, and I really want to try this liquid cooler to see if it makes any difference. So thanks for watching. Please do feel free to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.